So in this video, I'm going to give you a very brief overview of the 21 laws of healing that I used to pull myself out of a very dark place. Now, it took me 30 years to discover what these laws of health even were. But now that I understand what they are and I understand the power in the laws of health, now I can use them in a very profound way to help my coaching clients kind of intuitively tap into the ones that their bodies are going to respond to the most. So let's talk about law number 1. I put this one at the top because I think it is of critical, vital importance. I think of all of the other laws, if you did not have access to any of the other laws of health, and this is the only one that you had, I think that it would do you the most good. So, and that law is the law of awareness. It's the law of conscious awareness. And I want to demonstrate that by giving you a little sample of what it's like to truly be aware of what's going on in your body. What are you feeling and where do you feel it? So here we're going to do a little bit of an exercise here. I want you to just close your eyes, take your awareness and drop down into the center of your body, as if I were to draw a line from the top of your head down through the center of your body. It would go down behind your eyes, through your throat, through your heart, your upper stomach and lower, down through the legs and out the feet, in the perfect center of you. I want you to just close your eyes and think of that center midline inside of you. Just think about really just being in the space within the center of you. Now, you'll notice that when you start doing that, you stop breathing. So go ahead and add a breath. We're going to use the breath, breathing in through the nose and right back out through the mouth. In through the nose, right back out through the mouth. Do you notice anything different? As you center yourself, you go into the center of your body. Drop down, down, down below your heart. And all you're doing really is you're taking your awareness or your presence and you're just inhabiting space inside of you. And as you start to breathe, go ahead and soften all of the muscles that show up tense for you on the exhale. Breathe in, think about your center, breathe out. Still be inside of your center and release all the tension, letting that go. Now, most people notice there's a very distinct change between what they were feeling before they centered and what you feel after. It actually really literally does put your body in a state of strength when you take your awareness and go inside. That's law number 1. Law number 2 is the law of belief. Now, I kind of need to illustrate this. It's really hard to go into little segments, but I just want to touch on each of these laws. Now, Dr. Bruce Lipton wrote a book a while ago called The Biology of Belief. And what he discovered over the course of his lifetime, he was a cellular biologist. He worked at Stanford and several other universities in the United States. And he discovered some very interesting findings as he studied the cells, the nucleus of the cell, and the outer membrane of the cell. And what he learned was that the outer membrane of the cell is actually more like a brain than the nucleus of the cell is. And that outer membrane of the cell had the capacity through the transfer of electricity and also protein markers. It can actually perceive and then interpret its environment and then make changes accordingly, like physiological changes based on the way that the cell interprets its environment that it's in. So he said we could actually change muscle cells to skin cells by simply changing the environment of the cell. Now, that translates into more than just your cell, because you are a community of cells, right? So by changing the way that you interpret your environment and your surroundings, you can actually change your physiology. You can make your body behave differently than it was before just by changing your perception and your beliefs. So when we change our beliefs and the way that we perceive our environment, we can change our physiology. And I go into this a lot deeper in the Body Restore Process coaching course. And as one-on-one coaching, we take this a lot deeper. You gain a much better understanding on how you can actually change your physiology by simply changing inappropriate or misaligned or untrue beliefs about yourself. It can actually change the way that your body shows up. So law number 2, that was belief. Law number 3 is the law of attention and the law of intention. Now, what we know according to how energy works is that we know that energy is just waves or vibrations, and energy flows where thought goes. So that's how energy shows up. And so it matters where you direct your attention. It matters what your intentions are. Let me illustrate that with a little a demonstration. There was a study that was done by a doctor named Gary Craig. He was the founder of the EFT tapping modality, where you say affirmations and you tap on the different electrical points of the body. You can actually make physiological changes within the body. You can change the structures of old limiting beliefs within your body. And when you change the structures of these beliefs, it can actually change the physiology. So he did this study where he brought in 3 people into his office, and they tested their blood, and they put it under a microscope, and they showed that each of the people had normal, healthy, flowing, average, ordinary blood. It looked like a flowing river of blood cells under a microscope. Then they had one person go into one room and 2 people went into a separate room. And their job, the 2 people, were supposed to project mean, unkind thoughts onto the one that was alone and isolated. And they did that for an hour. And when they came back, guess what happened as they rechecked the blood of these people again? What do you think? Do you think it was just his blood that was affected? Well, it was everybody. Every one of them, all 3 of them, when they tested their blood under a microscope again for the second time, all 3 of them had abnormally clumpy, gross, dingy cells that was not flowing very well at all. There was not much movement. He said they showed signs of that. I mean, that's what the blood of sickly people looks like. And so what that demonstration proved was that it matters where you put your attention, it matters what you choose to think in your mind, and it matters what your intentions are. It affects your own physiology, and it can affect the physiology of other people, depending on whether or not they are aware, okay? Law number 4, the law of free will. Once you come to understand this law, the law of free will, that you have agency to choose and you can make changes and you have power over your body, you're not a victim to your body, but that the things that you choose based on your thoughts, your attention, and your intention can actually change the way life shows up for you, and it will actually change the physiology of your body as well. So these things kind of go hand in hand with each other.